Welcome to the Hockey Writers Ink, the show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry. Relax, the keyboard is off and the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up. Join your host, Lance Green, the guardian of the blue paint turned writer, and your co-host, Ron, SteelFlyers, as we bring you all the latest on the Philadelphia Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next edition of the Hockey Writers Ink with your host, Lance Green.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another edition of the Hockey Writers Ink, a Flyers podcast. Of course, like Steel said, I'm your host, Lance Green. Steel's here as well as always. Steel, what show are we on here?
Okay, sorry. I'm catching a little swag here, right?
Oh, all right. That's our other show right there.
The other show, right? Prospect Watch. Oh,
there
check out some swag. Oh, yeah, right?
Little Prospect Watch.
Yeah, right. Oh, snap. Yeah, I know. This is the Hockey Writers Inc., but I wanted to throw some shade over to Prospect Watch, which you have to go check out. Go over to SteelFlyers.com and check that show out. Check out all the great interviews that we've been doing as of late, and some of the great articles that Lance has been writing as well too. So you got to go over to the website and check that out. But you also got to go to the website and check out the Hockey Writers Inc. and all the great articles that Lance does about the Philadelphia Flyers, and check out the great shows here, the Hockey Writers Inc. that we do about the Philadelphia Flyers. And I got to tell you something, Lance, we are getting close. There's a lot of things going on here real soon, right? So we're going to jump off here with episode number 176.
176. All right.
176, right? How about that? Episode number 176, and training camp is just right around the corner here for the Philadelphia Flyers. And man, folks, there's a lot of stuff we got to get into here and a short time to get there. So we're going to just jam right into it. So what do you think, Lance?
I'm ready.
All right, we are too. The first thing that I think we have to do and say is this. The hockey world lost a very valuable member of its brotherhood, not just Johnny Gaudreau, but his brother Matthew, in a very tragic and horrible way. Their lives were cut short. We are not guaranteed our next breath. And, it's a real shame that these two young men were taken at far too young of an age. They were both great members of their teams as coach and player. They were both great men as far as family members, fathers, teammates, things of that nature. Both of them, you know what I mean? And the number of lives that each of these young men touched throughout their entire lives, throughout hockey, and all of the NHL. It's been amazing seeing the outpouring of love and support from the fans, not just of the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Calgary Flames or the United States or any of the teams that Johnny played for, that Matty coached or played for. It's just the hockey world has opened up its heart and expressed some deep respect and love for the Gaudreau family, and we're doing the same thing here at SteelFlyers All Sports Network and the Hockey Writers Inc. We'd like to take a moment of silence for Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Gaudreau, and the Gaudreau family. We'd like to do that right now. Thank you, Johnny, for all the things you've done. Thank you, Matty, for all the things you've done. You guys will definitely be missed.
For sure. Matty being a Reading Royal, and Johnny
Exactly.
Hockey, I think everybody in Philadelphia, in the tri-state area even, was always hoping that one day Johnny would be a Philadelphia Flyer, a local prodigy, that went to Boston
Yeah.
College and had amazing years there, and then,
Yeah.
had amazing NHL career, and was cut short for sure. But man, how many countless lives those two have helped in the tri-state area, just always around local rinks. If you talk about Prospect Watch there, Steel, and if you saw anything, guys we just interviewed, local prodigies that are blooming right now in
Yep.
Rocco Pelosi and Braden Scuderi, both of them posting pictures they took of with those two guys, at the rinks at very small age, even, they were always there for the youth of New Jersey hockey there.
Exactly. Exactly. And not only were they that for their hometown, but they were also for Calgary,
Mm,
where Johnny was originally. He played for his first 8 years, and then also in Columbus, for the last few years as well
right.
too. And um, even Jim Jackson came out and had a great interview and piece about how his son was very much involved in coaching now, and was going to coach with Matty Gaudreau this upcoming season, and how he was always a huge fan and knew them because he had always would come back to the rinks and played at the same high school. And so they played with
Yep.
some of the same teams and skated together, and because Johnny would always come back and go to the local places, and always come back and give back to the local communities as well too. So I mean, yeah, like I said, it's the hockey world has lost two great human beings, not just hockey players and coaches, but fathers and sons and brothers and uncles, and they just lost two great people, and so we're really sad about that. And um, up there playing the game in the sky, you know what I mean, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, with that being said, let's move on to something maybe a little bit more positive. What do you say?
Cheerful. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more cheerful, a little bit more orange and black, maybe, shall we say? Yeah. All right, here's what we want to get into. Training camp is just 2 weeks away, Lance, and I think that I I gotta agree with our good buddy Jim. I haven't felt this much buzz around this team since when Lindros was coming, because of this whole Mitchkov, and then the whole re-signing of Travis Konecny to quite a monster deal there. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that they pretty much just re-signed mostly everybody. I mean, for the most part, this is the same team, with the exception of Mitchkov now being part of the group, and
Right.
now Fedotov or Fedotov being part of the group now, on a regular basis. Those are really the only true additions to the team that really weren't there kind of last year. Do you know what I mean? For the most part, the rest of the team is there. Obviously, Sean Walker's not there, but you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Right.
Extended Hathaway, re-brought back everybody else. Do you know what I'm saying? Even Brink was extended. Zumala was extended. Do you know what I mean? And so all these players were definitely extended. So they're bringing back mostly the same group.
Mostly
Now
the same group. Atkinson's, of course, not going to be back, but
that's
that's
the other.
that's
Yep.
the big. I wouldn't call it a big loss at this point, because he had definitely a down year last year, and I think injuries and everything else are catching up to him. But you know that just creates space for Mishkov and others to come in. So I think we're going to see that more and more as the years go by. These next couple of seasons, we're going to see a lot of youth. And me and Steele were talking before the show. Yes, it's largely the same team, but with key additions like Mitchkov and some of the other players that we might get into here as we talk about training camp commencing, spots are going to start to open up to bring in some new, fresh talent. And you got to remember the 2025 draft, the Flyers now have 3 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks. So that, even if they draft the majority of those picks and don't use them all to move up or whatever else they want to do with them, they're going to be getting a lot of top prospects into the system very quickly. So it's going to be an exciting time. We're going to have another year of John Tortorella being the coach, and the systems are in place, even though I wish the power play system wasn't.
Well, we're going to get into that here.
We'll get into that too. But yeah. So it's going to be an exciting year, I think.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to get into some of the expectations of this team, but also of said Russian player Mitchkov as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what though, Lance? I think we also have to add in Fedotov into that as well too, because I know we saw a very shaky kind of, hey, we're throwing you into the den. Welcome to the United States, and here you go.
Yeah.
And he was a little shaky and everything, and then he's had an opportunity now to spend a summer here, and get around, and then with Mitchkov coming over, and then those two guys have been teaming up and getting together with, some of the other players on the Flyers as well, and getting together and kind of forming that little bond and everything. So. Excuse me. I really think we need to put that together as far as the expectation, the Russian invasion expectation. Do you know what I mean? Because I think Ivan comes in with just as much hype, maybe not quite as hype as Mitchkov, but I think he should come in with a little bit of hype as well too, because Ersson was overplayed last year, and I'm looking for maybe like a 60-40 split maybe this year between those two guys. I don't care who it is, to be honest with you. I really don't. But I'm looking for a 60-40. I mean, maybe not necessarily a number one, but maybe like a 1A.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think it can be done. Like you said, you're gonna have Ivan come in now. He's had some time to get used to the smaller, faster rink of the North American hockey, being that the KHL plays in the Olympic style ice, much bigger, much slower game. But this guy is pretty darn good with his showing. He had to get used to it. But I mean, you look back in 21-22 season before he got taken off to military service and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into that, but he was voted the KHL's best goalie that year. He was on the All-Star team. Olympic silver medalist. If you remember, he carried that Russian team, and
do remember.
He won their Stanley Cup, their version of the Stanley Cup over there, and absolutely dominated for his team over there. He came back last season and played and still did pretty good. He played in the majority of the games over there. He played in 44 games, I think. He had a 2.37 goals against average and a 914 save percentage, had 4 shutouts. Team wasn't what it once was.
Right.
But, I think this guy is going to come over. He understands what is going to be asked of him. And, he's played in some awfully big games before. So I think he's going to take more of that net time away, rightfully so, away from Sam, because Sam is just like Steele said, was overused last year, and we had to depend on him so much because of what happened to Carter Hart and everything like that. So I think it's going to be more of a 50-50 split here, and John's going to run, Tortorella's going to run the hot goaltender. If somebody gets
Oh
hot,
yeah,
he's going to stay on him until they cool down, and then put the other guy in. So we'll
exactly.
see how it goes, and what their schedule looks like. Of course, with the back-to-back games and
Yeah,
all that other stuff plays into it too. But I definitely look for this tandem to be a 1 and 1A kind of thing. And Sam showed a lot last year. Held them in it for a long time, like we said for so many episodes here, where they were 110 days or something in third place in the Metropolitan
consecutive.
Division, when consecutive days in the Metropolitan Division, when most everybody had them being a bottom dwelling team way out of the playoffs. And they didn't fall apart until the end. After they traded some players at the deadline, and got injured on the back end a lot. So
I was just gonna say, yeah, when you lose when
yeah,
you lose three or four of your top back end guys all in a row
yeah,
at the very end of the season, yeah, and gee, no wonder you're gonna
yeah,
bottom out. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
You
Duh.
lose Drysdale, you lose Ristolainen. That was a big. Uh, that was a big thing. And then Sean Walker, of course, being traded away, and um, I think it was the right move. But at that time, we got a first round pick for him, and we're still building for the future. So I was okay with it, but the luck of the draw was not in our favor with all the injuries. So
Exactly, exactly. So that's the thing here with training camp coming up here not too long. There's going to be all these great battles that are going to be coming up, and all these great things that we're going to get to talk about here for training camp as well too. And Lance, looking forward to your upcoming article here that we get the
yeah.
yearly.
Yeah, camp battles set to ensue. I'm working on that right now. In each position, I'll talk about some guys to watch, some guys to maybe, push to make the opening night roster even. And, regardless, I think there is a couple of spots to be had, although the um, the roster is pretty set right now. There is some pieces there, and possibly guys that can even if they fail to make the Flyers, they could get out of juniors and come up and be professional and play with the Phantoms as well. So we'll touch on that hopefully this week. I'll get that out. Hopefully I can sit down and have time enough to write something. uh, but look for that in the near future.
For sure, for sure. You have to go to steelflyers.com and check out all the latest and greatest articles from the editor in chief with the Lance Green right there for sure. So be sure to go check out steelflyers.com. So, but you touched on something here that I also want to get into as well, Lance, and that's this because of training camp being just a few weeks away, and we're getting ready to get into it here. Um, y- we got to talk about the expectations here now that we've got Travis Konecny's re-signed, big deal. He's wearing the A on his sweater. He's part of the leadership group. He's part of the core group of players that's here now. You know what I mean? We got Couturier potentially returning back healthy. We got Jamie Drysdale coming back, returning healthy. Potentially Ristolainen coming back, potentially healthy. You know what I mean? When everybody else potentially coming back healthy, and then you sprinkle in Mitchkov into this mix, right? And then you also have to say that, well, hey, there's Tyson Forster, whom we both believe is going to have a breakout year this year. And quite frankly, I would like to see him paired with Mitchkov. I'm not sure who I would like to have at center yet. for that line, but I think I would like to see that line, either him or Owen Tippett with Mitchkov. I think is going to be the key as far as that's concerned. Like we said, the Flyers have not really changed much as far as down the middle. We got Frost, Poling, Couturier, uh, uh,
Lawton.
and Lawton. You know what I mean? And so,
Noah Cates in there if need be. He was kind of shifted to wing,
right,
but definitely capable of being playing a center role as well. If somebody tends to go down to injury, he's going to be right there.
exactly,
So,
exactly. So it I'm also looking forward to seeing what Owen Tippett can do this year. I think he is set to have um, a much improved year. I think we're finally starting to see this guy break it more and more out of his shell. I want to see him take command of the game.
well,
I want to see him be the player that we all think he can be, which is when he steps out on the ice, you have to have your head on a swivel because he is a threat to score. Okay. And when you have that kind of a player like we're gonna get in Mitchkov, now you put two players out there like that where you got to be like,
mhm.
you know what I mean?
No, I definitely agree. I see, a line best working out. Um, with Mitchkov and Tippett on the same line. I think that is just a absolutely dangerous line.
The
I
speed of both of them guys.
I don't see anybody on the roster that I would like in between them currently. But
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think whomever, I think I could play. I was a goalie, but I think I could play center and score, 50 points at least with those two guys on my wings, just
Yeah,
handing them off the puck. So, I think it'll be okay. But I would like to see maybe Couturier center, Forster, and Konecny on the first line because, like you said, I think Forrester is going to have a breakout year. I think he's going to touch even 25 goals this year
yeah,
if he can stay healthy. And I think Owen Tippett, I mean, I think he could definitely hit 30, if not 35 goals this
I
year,
agree.
depending. But, it depends who he plays with. If he plays with Mishkov, I think people are going to be watching him heavily. So who knows? He could even touch 40 if that's the case. Tippett can. In that case, I think he leads the team in goals this year. And that's just me. Konecny is Konecny, but with that big contract comes some more eyes. I think a lot of people, you know, knew who Konecny was, but definitely with him making an All-Star game and uh, you know touching over 30.
His
Yeah,
second All Star
yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah. But last I'm talking in terms of last year, just he stood out not only on the Flyers but in the league last year, I think, and opened a lot of people's eyes because he finally has that consistency back that he had at that younger age when he went 24 goals for 3 consecutive years. So he's only getting better. So I mean, I think he's going to have a great year too. But I wouldn't count Farabee out there as well. A lot of people forget that he was the team's leading scorer during the lockout year. Bobby Brink is set to potentially explode onto the scene. I think he was excellent in games at times last year. As you know, he kind of went back and forth between the Phantoms and here a lot, but to no fault of his own, I don't think. I think he grew as a player as the season went on, and
Yeah,
I think he could be somebody really special on that third line.
I agree.
And to come in, I think he could touch maybe 15 goals himself next season. I think that's very doable for him. He's a very elusive player. And it all depends. I think we spoke on the power play and I'll transition to that and I'll get your thoughts on that, Steel. I think obviously the power play was the the biggest problem the Flyers had in the past couple of years. They were ranked dead last in the league, and Briere went out and got Jamie Drysdale, who, if healthy, is going to help immensely. And we saw that at times when he first came in to play with the Flyers. He made a difference out there. And, I think Mitchkov is going to do the same thing this year. That's another piece that on the power play is going to be amazing. So those two additions to the team on a 82 game schedule, hopefully, if they can stay healthy, are going to be an amazing threat on that power play, as well as Cam York. I think took a big step forward last year as well, and he should help on the power play as well.
So, all right, I think folks know, if you watch and follow the Hockey Writers Ink, you guys follow the show. I think you know that exactly how we feel about Coach Rocky Thompson and his handling of the power play in the last few seasons, and we're quite frankly surprised that he still has a frickin' job. But he's going to be gifted, apparently, another season of the power play with some actual talented players. Not that he didn't have some talented players before, but it doesn't seem like he knows how to put them in the right places. It doesn't seem like he has them in the right setup with the right players for the right situation. It also seems like his schemes and his plans are not working. And these players are looking for the perfect pass, the perfect play, and the perfect goal. It's like you just want to line them all up and then just skate on by and smack them all in the chops as you skate by, and go, look, there's no such thing as the perfect pass and the perfect goal. Okay, you put the puck in the back of the net. Yeah. Who gives a frick how you do it? I mean, it's not rocket science here, people. It's hockey 101.
Well, I think a lot of that goes back to, well before even Rocky Thompson was coaching, and when we had Claude Giroux and Voracek. I mean, they would just
hot potato back there, passing the puck
back and forth with each other, and would not shoot the puck. I think something needs to change on the power play as far as somebody with a little guff in them or little stones to be able to stand in front of the net. I think our power play worked the best when we had players like Wayne Simmons and Scott Hartnell and John LeClaire and Mike Knuble sitting there in front of the net, blinding the goalie, taking the beating that comes with it, and then putting in some nasty trash goals, rebounds off rebounds. Like, they still count. I'm sorry, they still count. We don't have looking at the roster, we don't have anybody like that on the roster. We have a bunch of talented finesse players that can hopefully shoot the puck, but we don't have anybody to stand there and pick up the trash goals. And I'll give you one name that I really want to see come through is Noah Powell, who the Flyers just drafted out of the USHL. He's an amazing talent. I think the Flyers got a steal.
He's a Dubuque Fighting Saint too,
with him. So I just really like this kid, and I don't know if he'll be there this year, but I think that he has the potential. I'm with you. I think he's going to Ohio State.
Yes.
But he had 43 goals and 31 assists and 74 points, was a plus 18 last year. I would like to see the power play numbers. I think he might have been up towards the league leaders in power play goals as well. Just a big body, and that's what we need. 6'2", 201, but he plays much larger than that. And he isn't afraid to get in those dirty areas. I mean, I see, Wayne Simmons type guy all over him. Maybe not, I'm not saying the kid's going to be Wayne Simmons, but that plays that same kind of style of play. He's willing to drop the gloves. He's willing to finish his checks. He's willing to get into the board battles. He's willing to stand in front of the net. And, I think the Flyers need to draft some more of those players because we're
all day
lacking.
long.
We're lacking in the system right now, those physical presence. So I don't know, Steel. I think the power play will definitely be better with Mitchkov and healthy Jamie Drysdale for sure. But man, you need that physical trash goal rebound guy in front of the net that's just going to block and screen the goalie so he can't see the point shot coming in and all that. So I think that's their biggest problem, and they don't have that kind of player on the roster right now.
Everybody wants the highlight reel goal. Nobody wants to get the greasy, dirty, ugly, goals. Look, when the lamp goes on, that means it's a goal and it counts. It doesn't matter how it got there. It doesn't matter how the light got on. It just matters that the light got on. You know what I'm saying? So I really hope that this guy, gets the message, catches on. I don't know what if given the amount of talent, skill players that Philadelphia will potentially have again for the power play this year with those additions, if they're not middle of the pack, you know what I mean? Like you gotta, I think you gotta do a cut and run here, man. You know what I mean? Where if after say 20 games you're not in the middle of the pack as far as power play, I think it's time to pull the trigger. You need in the playoffs, the power play is one of the key factors. We see it every year because they're few and far between. The whistles go away in the playoffs, and when you do get a power play, you need to score.
You have to capitalize, yeah.
You have to capitalize because if you don't, that's the difference between you winning or losing. Okay? And think of it like this. If the Flyers were, say, 20th in the league in power play, right? If they were ranked 20th in the league, do you realize that probably would have kept them in third place and they probably would have been able to make it to the playoffs? Because it would have won them those couple of extra games. Do you know what I mean? It's like, am I the only one?
No, you're not the only one. I mean, the Flyers were dead last year. They scored 31 power play goals. Tampa Bay had 71. That's a 40 goal difference. That's big. That is so huge.
Man, that's a goal every other game.
Yep. I mean, that's the Flyers were operating on a 12% completion percentage there, and Tampa Bay averaged 28%. So
12%.
Yeah.
For the Flyers, right? You said 12% for the Flyers.
12.2. Yeah, and Tampa Bay was operating darn near 30%. That's.
Do you know
that's
what?
A big difference.
Let me tell you something, Lance. If I was working at that kind of efficiency at my job, I would be fired.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not kidding, right? So, what's the deal here? Who does he know, or what's going on here? How does he still have a job? Because frankly, I can't see it. I don't understand. Right? It seems like the guy's got the wrong philosophy. It doesn't seem like anybody's willing to take one for the team, to sacrifice, to get in front of the net or do whatever needs to happen. We don't have those kind of players on the roster, or whatever the case is. The Flyers power play needs to improve, or else they're not going to be able to go any further unless they can have a decent power play. I'm not asking for a top 10 power play. Heck, I'm asking for 20th. That's only 12 place improvement. I mean,
yeah, we talked about that before, and I've wrote articles recently about
ad
that.
nauseum.
Other other opportunities are out there for people to, hire that have actually scored power play goals in their career. Whom
I understand is still available.
Yeah, still available. So who knows?
Still available.
But
all right.
There you go.
All right. So this is the one thing that we kind of did it in different order here, and this is something that I think that fans and folks and everybody else out there, media needs to temper their expectations of Mitchkov and Fedotov. I think those expectations need to be tempered. The reason why is this. Yes, the excitement is there, and there hasn't been this excitement since Lindros has come. And that is great. And for the fans, that's great. And for the media, that's great. And for the organization, that's great. And for everybody involved, NHL, the whole 9 yards. Look, it's been proven fact that when Philadelphia does well, it's good for the NHL. Okay, seriously. Speaking of which, Philadelphia has 14 national games this year. 14. That's what, second or third most again this year for national games for Philadelphia? I mean, they're averaging that per year. You know what I'm saying? So this needs to happen for Philadelphia, I think, Lance. I really do. I think this, if they can't get to that level with the power play, then it doesn't really matter what they do. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be a hindrance then instead of a help. Do you know? And at this point they need that. Everybody's looking for that. Oh man, they're one more step away from getting to the contention. They're one more step away from being there. You know what I mean? And that's what I think we have to temper the expectations of Mitchkov and Fedotov, because yes, the hype is there for both of these players. The level of expectation is off the charts for these guys. Look, I can understand Fedotov. He's a little bit older. He's what, 24, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And he's been around. He's won a gold or a silver medal. He's been on the world stage a little bit. He understands a little bit. He's had the microphone in his face. He's had some adversity in his life. But Mitchkov is a teenager. He's 19. He's never been to the United States as far as now. He's living here now. This is his home. This is where he's going to be and play.
Flyers got his family to come over too, so that's good. He's got his mom, he's got his brother here too. So,
and big props and kudos to Danny Briere and the Philadelphia Flyers organization for being forward thinking and saying, "Hey, bring mom and brother and family and bring the family over." Do you know what I mean? And that I think was a huge step for proving that Philadelphia is definitely, on board with Mitchkov here. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying you're going to have to temper the expectations, because he is a teenager. This is his first time really at this. And yes, he's an exceptional talent. I mean, it was a lot of people were speaking of him, and it was either him or Bedard. Do you know what I mean? And the only reason why people weren't picking him was because of his contract with the KHL and that he was 3 years out. And that was the only reason why he wasn't picked as high as he was. You know what I mean? And so now he's here in Philadelphia. And I think, although the excitement is there and I think it's great, but I think you got to give this kid a little slack, and don't be so quick to judge, and don't be so quick to bite off his head when he's, pulled from a couple of games because he's not playing defensively. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Tortorella does not see him making an effort to do the defensive side of the game, he's not going to play. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks need to get prepared for that fact. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to temper the expectations a little bit on this guy.
Yeah, I mean, please don't set him up to be a Carter Hart or a Morgan Frost here in town. Yes, he's a very talented player, but don't put him on that pedestal just yet. He's an amazing talent, but he's also young, and it's going to take time to develop and learn the North American style game. He is over here. He has been practicing with certain guys, on the team already. Zumala being one of them, and really trying to get a handle on things, to get a good jumps, to be able to come into camp and do well. But he's 19. He's still going to take some time. I hope he takes off and he scores 20 goals this year. But if he doesn't, it's okay too.
I mean, exactly. All you have to do is
we'll see what comes of it. Yeah.
All you have to do is look at Connor Bedard, right? Okay, he's an amazing talent offensively, but man, the kid had major holes defensively, right? And you can't put the all of that pressure onto Mitchkov that he's going to come in and be the one that's going to just lead this team to the promised land. He's going to be part of what's going to help lead this team to the promised land. Do you know what I mean? But you can't put it squarely on his shoulders. It can't be one guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, case in point, like you said, Bernard, came in and did it offensively. 22 goals, 39 assists, 61 points, but he was a minus 44. And the Chicago Blackhawks are a bad team. We all know that. They're trying to rebuild and got some big names in their system, but minus 44 is not going to cut it when you have a head coach like John Tortorella. So he's got to come in. And at least he doesn't have to be the best defensive player if he's being offensively helpful and scoring, a goal a game. He doesn't have to be the best player, under John Tortorella's watch, but he has to know to get back, and he has to put in the effort to want to be a two-way player. And, we'll see how it goes. We'll see, if he's able to do that and flourish, or if he's gonna take some time to develop. But am amazed, honestly, that he's over here this early. That was the big knock, like you said. That was the big knock that the Flyers found him, falling to them because he was, under contract for 3 years in the KHL. So, the Flyers were able to talk their way, or Comcast was able to, who knows, pay their way out of that deal. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just happy it happened and he's here. Yeah. So, we'll take it, and, he'll be here to grow with the youth that's already here.
Exactly. And that's what I mean. I think it was just one of those things where, man, did he get lucky on this one? Because he's here now. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But him being here, I think we need to temper the expectations of him and Fedotov, I think, as well. I think Ivan's going to be just fine once he catches on, once he gets the smaller ice and he unleashes his anticipation and his hockey IQ and his goalie sense. His goalie senses are tingling. You know what I mean? And I'm not kidding. It's watching this guy is like watching a clinic in goaltending. He's in position, and even though he stumbled last year, when he was kind of thrust into the role, you could tell he had the fundamentals. You could tell because he was always square to the shooter, and he was, trying to anticipate the plays and trying to, you know what I mean? It's the speed and all that other stuff. It's going to come to him, and it's going to take a minute, and I think training camp, and I think you might see him play quite a few preseason games or get some preseason game time where he's playing more than just a period or two. Do you know what I mean? Where they might just say, all right, we'll go out there and play the game. A lot of times they break it up, and, you'll see one or two goalies playing, or 3 or 4 goalies playing in a game because they only play one period, whatever. But I think you might see him play a couple of 1 or 2 games. Do you know what I mean? I think they're both slated to be here for the rookie game against the Rangers, which is what, 2 or 3 days after camp starts on the
Yeah,
18th,
very, very soon after
like
camp
23rd or
starts. So
something.
that's
Yeah,
going to be interesting, and
exactly.
how well he can coach can get him in and get him trained up there.
So, Lance, I got to tell you something here, man. We've talked about the expectations of Mitchkov. We've talked about the expectations of the goaltending room. We've talked about the expectations of the forwards with Mitchkov addition, the power play, and everything else like that. Let me ask you this: what do you get for the season here? Give me a little bit of a season expectation here. What do you think of the team? Look, I know it's stupidly early. I mean, we're September 2nd here, you know. But I think based off of what we've seen, what we got, who we've signed, who's going to be out there skating, what do you think?
It's tough because our division is pretty darn tough. I mean, um, I think the Penguins are kind of on the downslope. Um, y- so that's good for us. Columbus obviously just took a huge hit in losing Johnny Gaudreau and trading away Patrick Laine. So that's
Yeah,
two offensive talents that they're now lacking. New Jersey Devils kind of took a stumble last year. A lot of people had them better than they performed. So I think they're going to come back, a little stronger.
especially with new coach,
Yep, yep.
you
I think
know.
they're going to be good. Uh, you look at the Caps, I think they're the same thing. They went out and tried to get some people. They do have a couple of prospects now where they're trying to build for the future. Um, but
They got
like the
some
Penguins,
really good prospects,
they
man,
they
because
they've drafted very well in the past couple of years. They picked up a lot of guys that the Flyers needed to pick up
yeah,
and passed on, and then the Capitals end up drafting them. The New York Islanders. You look at the Islanders, and
Celebrini being one of them.
yeah, you look at the Islanders, and you know, they have some strong goaltending. They have some strong defensemen. I think they're lacking on offense, personally, especially the top six. Um, Carolina is going to be strong. Now, my my pick for who the Flyers should have drafted or hired as the GM is now the GM there, as he was the assistant GM, but now um, Doug Waddle or whatever his name is left,
Well,
and
yeah.
yep, left Carolina. So you know, but I still think they're going to be strong. Brendan Moore is an amazing coach. He always gets guys up for the game and finds a way to win. So I think very clearly, and of course you got the Rangers. The Rangers are a powerhouse offensively. They have amazing goaltender, possibly one of the best goaltenders in the league. Um, but it's pretty easy when I think when you're playing in front of Adam Fox and people like him. So
And
you know,
Kreider, and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kreider.
There's a lot of people there. So I think I could see the Flyers being the third place team again, behind the Rangers and the Hurricanes. I think the Islanders will be there. um, but I think if the Flyers come out, especially with the addition of Mishkov, and play that game and now have an additional goaltender and not just relying so heavily on Sam, I think they could be a third place team again and possibly squeak into the playoffs or, you know, just miss out again like they did this past season. I think those two teams and the Hurricanes and the Rangers are very strong, if I'm
Well,
being honest.
Rangers are President's Trophy winning team from past year.
So
right. And Carolina went deep into the playoffs as well too,
yeah,
and
they
they
both
re-signed.
won over 50 games last year, and had well over 100 points. So I mean, the Flyers finished with
Both of them.
87. So that Mitchkov is going to be a great addition, but I don't think he's going to make up that kind of ground.
I think the Flyers' magic number this year is going to be in the upper 90s. Last year it was 92 was the magic number to stay in third place, and the Islanders did that. The Islanders did exactly what the Flyers needed to do.
They finished with
Um,
94. Yep.
they finished with 94 points. They took over third place. You know what I mean, and they made it into the playoffs. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would
um,
say 95. They need to have 95 to be safely
at
in
least,
third place this year.
at least. I think at least, based off of everything that we've seen from last year with the number of teams that went to 100 points or more. Do you know what I mean? Not just in the West, but a lot of the teams in the East.
Yeah.
All of the leading teams in the East, all of them were all over 100 points. I think you're going to see Boston is still you still have to consider Boston. I'm sorry, you still have to consider Boston. Um,
The
Penguins,
Panthers, the Maple Leafs,
the
the
Panthers, the
Lightning.
Stanley Cup winning Panthers, I think you definitely have to consider them. Maple Leafs, I think we'll see. It's hard to judge the Maple Leafs if they can get some goaltending and keep it, and then they can get some healthy defense and keep it, and they can have more than just Austin Matthews. Then Toronto, I think, will be able to continue to improve. Hey, they went to what, the second round last year? Right. So, all right.
They have some
I
scary offense, man.
I know, right? Uh, I also agree with you about New Jersey. I think they were expected to be a little better than they were. But I think injuries also kind of hurt them a little bit,
Mhm.
as well. But look for the New Jersey to come back a little bit strong now with the additions for in net, as well, and some of the other additions that they've done. I think New Jersey now has got the pieces in place to do the things they need to do now, and the coach as well too. I also agree with you about the Islanders. I think they still need more, and I don't foresee them being any kind of situation where they can be in contention. You're going to have to deal with the Bostons, the Pittsburghs, the Capitals. I think are still they drafted, like you said, really well the last couple of years. So it's going to be hard for the Flyers to even get to third place, not to mention maintain third place on all the other teams in the division. Do they have the potential to do so? I think so, Lance. I would even go as far as to say that I really do think that they take that next step, and I do think they make the playoffs this year.
I hope so. I definitely hope so. I think that would be good for the club. Um, you know, and I'd be okay with that, being that the Flyers have 3 first-round picks, so theirs doesn't have to be the one that counts it all. And if you look at it, their second-round picks that they got are Columbus and the Anaheim Ducks. And
So they're early second round
so they're
picks
going to
too.
be probably within the top 5
Yeah.
picks of the second round. So that just means that you're going to get basically first round talent that got picked over, because you all know that, like the Flyers did this year, certain teams reach on a particular player that they really like, that they think that'll help them in the future, and they weren't necessarily, first round talent, or later in the first round. So somebody is going to have to fall to the second round, and I think the Flyers are going to clean up there with those two selections from the Ducks and Columbus, because I think both those teams are going to struggle this year. So
I agree, and I think with the capital that they have for next year, that kind of gives them a little bit of leadway as well too, where they don't necessarily have to have that pressure on them that, okay, you need to make the playoffs this year or else. Because quite frankly, it might not be a bad thing if they don't make the playoffs. Do you know what I mean? That might not be a bad thing either, where they still play well, they still win some games,
Gain the
but
experience, yeah.
you know what I mean? But they play maybe a little bit more of the younger guys, where you see more of the Ronnie Atards playing more, or the Zumalas playing more, or you know what I mean? You're seeing more of that particular situation. You're seeing Brink with more ice time, depending on how they go, depending on how it goes in training camp and how this roster is set. You know what I mean? We all know that Tortorella's gonna have a tough camp, and guys are gonna have to strap it on, right? So who can survive? You know what I'm saying? I I like I said, I think the Flyers can make the playoffs this year. I really do. If they can maintain third place, that's playoffs right there, right? All day long. But I also have to say this. It's a lot of caveats, a lot of ifs. If they can get to 95 points, I think that's going to be about their magic number. Between 92 and 98 is going to be their magic number, I think, for this year. Um, they're going to need to achieve that number of points in order to get to where they want to get to. Do you know what I mean? Are they going to be able to do that this year with the schedule and the roster and everything else like that? We'll see.
Yeah, I think JJ said it best. There's a lot of ifs, but if most of those things can actually happen, as far as does their goaltending stand up? Does their power play get better with Mitchkov and a healthy Jamie Drysdale? Does Couturier stay healthy? All those things, health, goaltending, the power play, does it get better? And there's a lot of questions, but if some of those things, even most of those things can go right, I think they're gonna be that third place team this year, and maybe get a chance at the playoffs. But still, I think we have a good show, man. I think
Yeah,
we should
buddy.
wrap it,
Yeah,
and
man.
it's definitely interesting. I'm ready to see some camp battles and
Yeah,
get working on
I am
this
too.
article. So.
I am too, and I'm excited for this season to get started. I'm excited to see what lays ahead with the Mitchkovs and the Fedotovs and the rest of the team. I'm just very interested to see how this is all going to pan out for these guys and how this is all going to flow. And we're ready for October to get here already. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I get it. Summer's over and all that, but we're ready for hockey and we're ready for the puck drop. For sure, for sure. Big props and thanks to Spreaker for all your help in getting us out there to all of the podcasting platforms. All you have to do is go to your favorite podcasting platform, type in the Hockey Writers Inc., and we will show up, give us a 5-star rating, and that helps us to get ranked, which, by the way, thank you all so very much for getting us to being the top 10 ranked podcast of all Philadelphia Flyers podcasts. We are ranked, wait for it, number 10. That's right. We are the 10th ranked podcast of all Philadelphia Flyers podcasts. So thank you very much. We really appreciate that. So big thanks to that. Also, big thanks to the Facebook groups for allowing us to post out all of Lance's great articles and for allowing us to post out our shows and all of our great content. We really appreciate all of the Facebook groups for allowing us to do so and allowing us to put all of our great content out there as well, too. And, of course, great big props to the main man, the Pots and Pans, Lenny Redcoals, for allowing us to use exclusive images from him on all of our shows and all of our articles. Big thank you to Lenny Redcoals for allowing us to do that, man. Really appreciate that exclusive permission from him to do that. We really like to thank you all for joining us. We'd also like to make a quick little announcement. Starting here really soon, maybe like right after camp. Yeah, right after camp, I'd say we're going to have a new addition to the show. We'll have a Lehigh Valley Phantoms segment that'll be completely dedicated to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, where we'll discuss the games and we'll do exactly kind of what we're doing here, only much shorter version of it, of course. But that'll be part of the show here moving forward, where we will have a Lehigh Valley Phantoms section, and we'll be able to go through some of that and all the great information and stuff that's going on with the Phantoms too, because those players are going to impact the Flyers in some way, shape, form, or another this season, no matter what. You know what I mean? Whether they're call-ups or not.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
For sure. This team is getting better and better. The Phantoms, Ian LaPerriere has got them coming around. They made the playoffs last year.
Yes,
They
they
lost
did.
to the Hershey Bears, who won it all. So this team, like Steele said, is going to impact the Flyers moving forward. There's so many good prospects coming into the system that I'm excited to see and watch play. Because of what Danny Briere is bringing in now, and the ones that were already in place that are now progressing to the level of turning pro. So that's why we both think that it's a needed addition to this podcast, and just to keep you guys informed. So we'll definitely be touching on that throughout the season, and bringing you some Phantoms knowledge, and definitely get up there to. It's a beautiful rink. If you get time to get up to Lehigh and watch a game there, there's not a bad seat in the house. So
Exactly. So be looking forward to that here. Not sure what exactly we're going to call it yet, but we'll let you guys know, and we'll have it out there for you as well too. But I will be adding a Phantom section segment here to the Hockey Writers Inc. show. So be looking forward to that here in the very near future. Like we said here, training camp is starting in the very, very, very near future. In the next couple of weeks, we'll have guys out there skating, and then right after that, the first rookie game is on the 23rd of September, so not too far away here, and we're going to have some action hockey here. So thank you, Lance, for all the great stuff you do, all the great articles and everything that you do here at SteelFlyers, and all the things that you do here for Hockey Writers Inc., man. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate all the things that you guys do here, and all the following and all the subscribers, and just really appreciate all the number of hits on the website and things of that nature as well too. So thank you all very much for that, and thank you all for your support. I am your co-host Ron SteelFlyers, and we will catch you all in the next episode of the Hockey Writers Inc.